What up, Bucs fans? We are live. It is a Monday. It's Real Bucs Talk back with you guys, and we're very excited to be here tonight and welcome all you guys in here. It's NFL Draft Week, which is crazy. It seems like it's just flown on by. The offseason in general has just been hectic and wild, and we're very excited just to break it all down and talk NFL Draft. And we got a great show coming up Thursday for round one. Very excited about that. And yeah, man, let's just dive into it. But this is Real Bucs Talk. I'm your host, Michael Plus, joined as always my co-host Mark Ramirez. Mark, it's great to see your face. It's great to talk NFL draft, and finally we get results this weekend, which is always nice. And then we can really dive into it and analyze.
Yeah, we get to see who is the new addition. It's always cool to see you get to hand pick your choice of who you want out of the best of all of college football. I mean, these are guys you've seen on Saturday and have performed at the highest level to their capability, right? Now, can they form that into your team? And that's the biggest thing. I'm looking for them to build upon this team, not just like some fans think we should just throw it all in and go for Caleb Williams next year. It's like almost a rift between Buck fans. Some of them just want to throw in the towel and just wait for next year, and then some others are like, no, let's see what we can still get out of this team. Mm-hmm. And you saw Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask are at the Lightning game right now, so they're giving them good luck. But I mean, I'm ready to win now. I mean, I don't care. Like everyone's like, it's not Super Bowl, but still, this is a competitive roster, and you just need to give me enough. And let's just see what happens if we can get to the playoffs. That's the biggest thing. Like, just get in that dance, and let's see what happens. And this Thursday is the biggest way to kind of make that step forward.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you make great points about the current state of the team. And I think a lot of fans are looking at it since, Brady is gone. It seems like now is the time to, rebuild and, tear things down a little bit and start over. But when you look at the roster is still very good and still ready to compete, especially on the defensive side of the football. You still have a lot of key pieces there that can make things happen and should be better going into, this season. Now it's about, the offense. Can they pick up things? Can your quarterback, whoever that may be, Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, be good enough to help you win games? And, that remains to be seen. There's still a lot ahead as far as the offseason goes, and you can still make additions. So, yeah, I think it's still early to, say this team isn't going to be competitive or isn't going to make the playoffs. I think they still have a very good chance, especially, like G Vegas says here. I mean, the division, it's still very winnable when you compare it to other teams. And obviously, the Panthers are going to be a big talk this Thursday with the first overall pick. They're going to probably be adding a new quarterback as well. So, yeah, it'll be intriguing, definitely. And I think the NFC is wide open. And speaking of the NFC, I mean, we had a big trade today. Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. So, yeah, definitely everything is on the table for the Buccaneers. And I say minimum probably 7 wins for this team. And there's potential for, definitely more.
I mean, look what you just said. Like, Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Green Bay Packer, right? So that's one NFC team that was in the running almost every year for a playoff spot. If they lose Aaron Rodgers, almost like how people think, oh, we lose Tom Brady, they should be in the hellhole, right? They should be a bag of crap. Who do they have behind him? Jordan Love, right? You don't really know what he is, what he isn't. We have a Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. We've seen Baker perform at a high level before. Can we get that out of him? Right. Just that's all I want. I don't want some heroic guy we're not expecting anything he's never done before. Just give me enough of what Baker was when he was good, and give him a run game for crap's sake, right? I mean, hopefully this offensive scheme is a little bit different, which it will be, but hopefully it produces on the field. But I mean, that remains to be seen. But like you were mentioning about the roster, you want to go over the roster before we look at possible draft prospects?
Yeah, for sure. Let me bring this up here. There we go. We'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so I mean, you look at the current roster here, and obviously there's still a lot of talent here, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You still have, key players in Rachaad White, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, hopefully healthy this year. You look at Kate Otten as well. And then, the big discussion here is Tristan Wirfs. I mean, I think he's talked about it, potentially moving to the left side. So that could be an option. And then you look at Jensen still back. And then really your guards. I mean, is it going to be Leverett and Hainsey? They did bring in this guy, Matt Feeler, I think is how you pronounce it. He's a veteran, played with San Diego, or not San Diego, Los Angeles.
There you go.
There's
Go Chargers, go.
So, I mean, there's plenty of talent here. I mean, they added Chase Edmonds as a nice veteran running back. So there's a lot to work with. And you look at defensively, still a lot of good pieces here with Levante David coming back, Jamel Dean. So there's upside there, definitely to be had.
Yeah, and then defensively also Shaq saying he could be possibly ready for week 1. That'd be
Right.
huge if that's possible. Like, we've been kinda saying it. Our
Mhm.
secondary, go down a little bit.
Mhm.
Our secondary, you got Jamel Dean,
Yeah.
Carlton Davis, your bookends on the outside. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that. Do you worry about nickel? Yes. I mean, that is pretty much 70% of the time a starting position. You don't really know
Yeah.
who that is because you lost SMB, and hopefully Antoine Winfield Jr. will not be that this year.
Right.
Let
Right.
him roam around, free safety. Ryan Neal, huge addition. So to me, those 4 spots are smart, aggressive football players. Nolan Turner, if he can kind of make a progression from year 1 to year 2, a lot of people talk highly on him. We haven't really seen it because he's never been on the field. But
Mhm.
overall, the secondary to me looks good. If you go and add to that even more in the hopefully later days in the draft, I'm looking forward to that. But
Yeah.
that looks sound. I mean,
Mhm.
only thing I would want is an upgrade in pass rush. That's something we talk about all the
Yeah.
time. Devin White situation. Let's see. I mean, the draft is right here. Do we trade for a pick? That'd be the thing. It's probably not going to be a day 1 pick, but
Mhm.
let's see. I mean, within these Thursday, Friday, you're going to see if Devin White's being moved. He's not. He's staying a Buccaneer for at least a full other year. And
Mhm.
that's me kind of saying that with cement on that.
Yeah, I think Todd Bowles came out with a quote recently that was just put up on Twitter saying they're not going to trade Devin White, and that's the coach who loves Devin White, and obviously saying that most likely they're not going to move him, and I think they would have to be blown away with an offer to let him go. So he'll definitely be here for year 5 on that option year, and definitely be a Buck for this season. Remains to be seen if he's going to be a Buck for future years. But yeah, Mark, I agree with you. I think you look at the other positions, defensive line, edge. I think is definitely a need for the team. You look at the offensive positions. I think obviously offensive line is most likely what they're going to be looking for. Definitely offensive tackle, but really offensive tackle. If you can't get it at 19, then it becomes tricky because you might not be able to get a solid player later on because offensive tackle is more top heavy this year in the draft. So that is something where if there's the right fit at 19, obviously it makes sense to do that. And then you look at the skill position, receiver, I think that would probably be a day 3 pick. Running back, we're going to get into that in a little bit. That definitely could be on the table if someone is, there at 19. Definitely could be in play on, round 2 or round 3, especially round 3, because that is Jason's lights. Like he loves taking running backs in round 3. So, yeah, I mean, so really you look at the needs, obviously pass rush, um, tight end could definitely be a need, and then offensive tackle and running back. I think those are your top needs when you look at it. And obviously, you mentioned it first, the nickel cornerback position. So they're going to be looking for a hybrid type of guy that can play inside and maybe outside as well, in this year's draft.
Yeah, I mean, so we touched on a whole bunch, right?
Mhm.
So defensively,
Yeah.
like we mentioned, they're kind of sound there. There's little pieces here and there. We want clearly, I think we've made this obvious, a pass rusher to help in that situation to get pressure off that secondary.
Yeah.
But this team likes to just build big guys up front, open it up for the middle linebackers. I'm not going to keep trying to shove a round peg into a square hole, however the hell it's said, right? So I'm not
Mhm.
going to force it. Offensively, I think you just touched on it with possibility of running back. The Bijan Robinson talk's been going around a lot
Yeah.
because he's only talked to 2 teams, the
Mm.
Eagles, who have a top 10 pick,
Yeah.
and the Bucs, who are at 19. Is that him just trying to stir media just to hopefully get in the first round? He
Mm.
likely will be because he's one of the top talents in the draft.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, that goes with us saying we don't like running backs in the first round. The positional value isn't there, but Bucs don't give a
Right.
crap about that. They take
No.
right top 5. So
Yeah, definitely
it's a
not.
big question mark, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Bucs, I think when the Buccaneers look at the draft, they're trying to just add the best player they can. And yeah, positional value definitely, it's bigger for others. You know, me personally and Mark, you would agree, probably don't want to take a running back in the first round. It just doesn't make a bunch of sense. But when you're adding a player that is not only just a running back, but a weapon on offense where he is a star player instantly, and you don't find star players often. So when you have an opportunity to get a guy like that who you project to be a star player, and he can take over games at times and be a difference maker, that's definitely worth investing into because it's going to help your team win games early and often. And that's something that the Buccaneers could use. But you know, more to come on that. So yeah, overall, I think just looking at the team, the needs are running back, tight end on offense. Offensive line is probably the top need on offense. And then you look at defense, obviously edge rush and defensive line and total, and then cornerback, safety slash hybrid. Probably looking for a safety that can play nickel. I think there's a couple guys in the draft like Sidney Brown out of Illinois. I think is a guy that they could target, at 50. Could be a very good pick. So yeah, there's options there. It just depends on how this board's going to fall because 19 is just so tricky. Depends on who's there. Are you going to trade up? Are you going to trade up to go get a guy that maybe isn't within range? Or are you going to trade down and, get more picks and try to get, best value possible?
I mean, yeah, I think you said it today. It could go anywhere. You don't
Mhm.
know exactly who's going where. You don't even know like the top quarterback who's going to get taken. Usually, number 1 pick's already a proven thing.
Mhm.
Like casinos are just going back and forth. Is it going to be Bryce Young? Is it going to be CJ Stroud? Oh, now he's in the lead. Like no one really knows. And this kind of brings to the drama show that is the NFL. We almost touch on that like
Mhm.
every show. But I mean, I want to talk more on Bijan. We're actually going
Mhm.
to do a film study too, guys. So get ready for that.
Yeah.
I mean, people are comparing him to Saquon Barkley, to LaDainian Tomlinson way back when. I mean,
Mhm.
so he's getting high praise because of the production he put up in college football. And then you have some of the crowd that we kind of agree with. It's okay, it's a running back positional value. Then you have others that say he played at Texas. It wasn't the best competition. It wasn't SEC football. It wasn't the best defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot of different conversations you can go into. Like, did he make the offensive line? The offensive line make him? It's a whole other part of it. It was the offense developed, like literally centered around him. Most likely, he's the best player on the team.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's a lot of the stuff that goes into it. But this is also the NFL. If you just give me a player that can make something happen, he can catch, he can make you miss, he can run over you. His contact balance is insane. He
Right.
has everything you want. But the thing is, running backs are it's a ticking time bomb. They're going to get hurt. If you're looking for 5 years with Bijan, I mean, look at Saquon. He got hurt, what, 2 or 3 out of the 4 or out of the 5. So it's a tough decision. And do you
Mhm.
take a running back that you know is going to get hurt? Because look at our running back room, like you just talked about. You have Rashad White, who had a okay rookie season, wasn't blowing anyone away. No one knows him as a household name besides Bucs fans. Then you have Chase Edmonds behind him, kind of a scat back, catches the ball well, never had a big season. Keyshawn Vaughn had a couple drinks during the season, a
Mhm.
couple times. There's no really big home run threat, no big like slapping the face. This guy is someone I have to worry about. So I
Yeah.
can see why the Bijan Robinson is a big connection to Tampa Bay, not just in the way he runs the ball. He can catch the ball. He can be put out wide. Rashad White can do the same thing. How many times can you use these guys in different ways where defenses are like, holy which one do I go after?
Um,
That's head scratchers you want for the defense to actually think through. So that's why, in my head, I would like to use him. So I guess if you want Want to just jump
Yeah.
into his film study now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go, guys.
Let's get over here. But just taking a look at him, and like Mark said, I mean, the production is crazy. I mean, over 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6.1 average. You look at his draft profile here. We'll scroll up, but I mean, there he is. Perfect size, very high grade. And you look at the numbers 4.46, athletic enough. I mean, that's pretty athletic. And then 1.52, so it shows the acceleration there, the quickness, vertical jump. So he's the complete package. The NFL comparison, Josh Jacobs. I mean, yeah, I guess that's a good comp.
Can do
Um,
everything.
yeah, I mean, Mark said he was a little bit Alvin Kamara, which I see that as well. I mean, the contact balance, 3 down back, just everything you want. So, yeah, let's jump into. Let me see if we can put this. There we go. Yeah. So here we go against Alabama. So SEC defense right here. And he's
Do
just
I
gonna.
like? I mean, look how he presses the line here. I mean, he's just literally right up on his blocker. This guy's just in the way, just patient but literally aggressive at the same time. He feels arm tackles. He'll here just gets through him. Big, strong, thick legs, just gets through the arm tackles and ends up in the end zone for a touchdown. But this is just pressing line, showing he's aggressive at the point of attack. And again, against SEC football, things you want to see. Touch on that.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. You nailed it on, pressing the line, making sure everything is available. And then here, same thing. This is just, seeing the hole. You see the quick feet, being able to get away from defenders, and then go head first, run over a guy, still going. So the contact balance, all those good things that you want to see is there from Bijan Robinson.
And that's why I said he's kind of like a Alvin Kamara, but more powerful. I mean, look at the nice, subtle little movement here. Pops it outside, finds his man. Okay, I'm gonna have to lower my shoulder. I'm not just gonna avoid contact. I'm getting through you and dragging and moving forward for more 2, 3, 4 yards more. And
Mm,
this is different angle, same play. Get
yeah,
through the guy. We're not gonna settle for if it's a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, I need to get upfield, lowering my shoulder, driving through my legs, and running over you. I love
yeah.
to see it. And yeah, the running back position is so easy to kind of see. So let it break down. Plus, tell me what's going on in this one.
Yeah, just same thing. I mean, just being able to create, see the hole, press forward. He sees, okay, 47's taking that lane, and he's going to try to dart out here and then still be able to drag guys. You see the balance here as he's just going through, fighting through, trying to get more yards. So I just like his footwork. And you look at his pad level. His pad level is always low, good leg drive, fighting for extra yards.
It's the suddenness too. I mean, the
Mm,
vision, suddenness. So he sees this guy, 14, someone we've done a little film study on before, filling that run gap wide, can't go wide, has to cut it upfield, puts a foot in the ground. Look how low he is, like you were mentioning. I got to get through 42 to get more yards, right? Okay, shifty little move. Watch this. Whoop, just slides a little bit outside, doesn't get the full wrap on him, and then keeps continuously rolling forward, contact balance, like we mentioned, then drive. I mean, a lot of good traits. It's the subtle little moves that get them that little breakout to get to the outside or get a couple extra yards because they can't wrap them up easy. Bring it out.
Right, exactly. And I just like how he, again, sets up his blocks well here. He sees the hole, he sees that opportunity to the left, bounces a little bit, shows good acceleration here to get to the sideline, almost breaks that tackle. So it's just a lot of things where, I mean, again, look at the footwork there, breaking that tackle. I mean, that's really nice. Being able to cut, get narrow, get north and south, and then understands, okay, I got to go the other way because he sees an opportunity to break this tackle. He does. And then, of course, they need, 4 guys to get him down. So just really good job here by Bijan Robinson. It shows why he's an elite prospect in this draft.
I could see where some would say, why didn't he just go north and south? I mean, right here, just kind of just keep going and just
Right.
drag people with you. I could see the argument. He's maybe just being a little trying to get outside to make a bigger play.
Mhm.
Okay, if that's gonna be your knock on him, okay. But in the league, he'll realize you got to get upfield, and literally that's what he's doing here. It's an outside run, reading your keys, and do I keep going outside, or do I actually shoot this thing upfield? What does he choose to do? Yeah, let me cut it upfield. I mean, not just keep continuously driving out to the sideline, getting upfield, stopping my foot, making some moves, and just refusing just to go out of bounds. I'm putting my shoulder in before I fall out of bounds there. So
Right.
a lot of aggressiveness I like to see out of him. And then now in the passing game, this is why he's a true weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at him there, again, being able to just go down the sideline and make something happen, get the mismatch on the coverage that he wants against a linebacker. I mean, that's wide open and he makes the play effortlessly and then continues to go downfield.
Yeah, he's on a defensive end and not the best pass. So he's a turn, still coordinated enough to kind of jump in air, make a high point catch, turn upfield, and still make moves with the ball in his hands. Not many running backs can do that. That's why they're called running backs. They're not receivers. So the fact that he can do this, what is this, like 30 yards down the field
Mhm.
against Alabama, everyone wants to say it. Yeah. And again, if Alabama's keying in on one guy, you just let him do that. Why? But I mean, this is Alabama versus Bijan pretty much. So now here he is. Plus, always likes to do this. Can he block? Because usually, if you're a really good player, yeah, you're going to see the field sometimes. But if you make mistakes, usually they sit your butt down because the quarterback needs to stay healthy. Plus,
Right.
break this one down.
Yeah, here again, he has it all. Like just being smart with his pass protection, staying square to the defender, does a good job of, jabbing him and keeping him where he needs to be. And then here is just great recognition. He's going to understand, okay, I got to pick up Brian Branch here, 14, and he does a great job of getting into his body and just keeping him there. So pass protection, not an issue for Bijan Robinson. He really is the complete package. He has everything you want out of a running back, and he can do a lot more than just being a running back for you. He's a 3-down weapon for your team, and that's huge for an offensive player and a running back at that. So he adds much more value than just any other running back in this draft.
Yeah. So we talked on Bijan. Guys, let us know in the chat. What do you think of Bijan Robinson? Krillin said Booby Miles energy. That's funny.
Yeah.
Massive holes. I mean, some of this he's guiding himself into it too. And then once he sees it, he just pops into it like immediately
Right.
and gets upfield. So some of it's maybe wide open. Some of it's he's making based off of subtle action moves. I mean, this was only a handful of plays. There were so many. I mean, the guy almost had 2,000 yards rushing. So
Yeah.
he's proved it over and over again. It's can you do it in that next level of competition? But you got to have a team that knows how to use you as well. Hopefully,
Mhm.
Dave Canales can do that, and I think he truly will. With the amount of motion I believe that there's going to be in this offense, the way they can be multiple. If you see a rocket backfield with Rashad White and a possible Bijan, if he's there, that would be a scary thing. And then you
Mhm.
have your two monsters on the outside and Godwin and Mike Evans. I remember when they used to say weapons for Winston. Just get it
Yeah.
all for Canales, I guess. Don't even call it for the quarterback. We don't even know who the hell quarterback is.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, that will be out in a separate video, so we'll put that out there for you guys so you can have it. So you guys can watch that. If you missed the live stream and you just want to watch Bijan Robinson, you can do that. But yeah, he was easy to watch. And again, I only watched one game of him. That was against Alabama, and he had a lot of runs where there was really not much to go. Like there was no room to run, and he made things happen and at least got positive yards. And he didn't have many negative runs. I think he had one, but you also have to remember they're gearing up for this guy. Like they know he's the offense. They know he's getting the football. So that makes a difference. And for him to produce like he did because of that, that shows what type of player he is. So, yeah, I mean he's a top 3 player in this draft. And like I said I think it was the last live stream or one of the other videos, he's one of the 3 elite players in my opinion. That's him, Will Anderson, and Jalen Carter. So if you have an opportunity to get him at 19, I think that's an easy decision, easy pick for the Buccaneers.
And I'm leaning towards it based off who else is available because
Yeah.
I'm not going to totally write off a running back, especially with the ability this guy has. Right? If
Mhm.
you're telling me like he's a possible the Danian Tomlinson or Saquon, you can get him at 19. You didn't have to trade up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mad. I know
Yeah.
there's other needs. I know I want it again. If there's no edge rusher there, all the edge rushers are gone, and there's this guy's all right, but this is the best running back that's been in the draft in like 10 years, I'd kind of lean towards that, right?
Mhm.
Or all the offensive tackles are gone. Usually they go early. That's
Yeah.
probably what we're going to talk about next. But it just almost it's let the draft fall how you want it to be. But also, if he's close enough, does Jason Light make a move?
Mhm.
Because I mean, they do want to get better. They want to compete. We all obviously we know that they've talked about that over and over again. The Bucs that want us to lose, I'm sorry, they're just not going to fold over. Todd
Yeah.
Bowles wants to have a job. Uh, pretty sure Jason Light's not going to get too many more opportunities either. So
Mhm.
you got to keep winning. This is a make
Yeah.
it or break it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a win now league. You have to be current, and you have to stay on top of things. And when we talk about this draft and you look at it, and a lot of people across the board, when you look at draft analysts and other just people in general grading this draft, there's not a lot of top prospects. And like I said, there's only 3 in my opinion. A lot of people would agree with that. So when you get past those guys, a lot of it is what you prefer, what's your preference, what's your, because there's not a consensus. So a lot of these guys are graded pretty similarly. Like there's not a big drop off, or there's not a big gap between certain players. Like,
What about
you
the
know,
corner? You think
mhm.
the corner's kind of high? The Oregon guy, I believe his name is
Yeah,
David Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez is a good corner, but you look at him and Devin Weatherspoon, like there's not a big difference between the two. I mean, Devin, I would probably have number 1, but again, it's just a preference. Like, who do you prefer? When you look at like offensive tackles for general, like Paris Johnson Jr. could be the best tackle for someone, but it also could be Peter Skoronski if they want to play him at tackle. Um, same thing with like Broderick Jones. Like he's got probably the most upside because of his athletic profile. Darnell Wright, same thing. He might be the best pass protector in this draft as far as pass blocking ability. And if you guys saw our tape study, he showed that. Like he does a great job of pass protection. Really took it to Will Anderson in that game against Alabama. So it's just like it's wide open this draft. So you could see names pop up. Like I know others had like BJ Ojolari. We talked about him, the edge rusher at LSU. He could go early. He could go, day 2. It just depends, like who likes him more than others. Will McDonald, same thing. Like he could be a first round pick.
Yeah.
So it's really a toss up. So I think if you have an opportunity to add a sure thing, like a surefire thing, that's what teams are probably going to look for and try to add that to their roster.
Another thing is like so last year, I mean,
Mhm.
pretty much for the past 10 years, Seattle Seahawks, they always draft guys. You're like, why are they drafting them so early? They could have had him later. Or
Mhm.
you're like, why the hell did they even do that? But then look at last year. They hit home runs multiple times in their draft.
Yeah.
Uh, offensive and defensive rookie of the year, I believe, or just
Mhm.
about. I mean, that's insane. And does something like that be brought over from Dave Canales? Does he tell them, okay, this is what we looked at in Seattle? Because I know Pete Carroll was saying he is Seattle. He is what we do. And does he bring that kind of culture and knowing this is the type of player that we need for this offense to work?
Mhm.
I mean, they have a lot of talent on offense. They never really invested in offensive line. Do they continuously do that here?
Yeah.
Just get weapons and orchestrate an offense, which is all based off of making you think it's this way. So the defense moves, so it gives you more time.
Mhm.
That's what I want to see. And that's another answer, not just who are we getting, but what direction are we going with
Mhm.
this? Is it going to be, yes, keep investing O line, O line, O line, or is it let's invest in some weapons to actually go attack people?
Yeah. And I'll make the last point on this before we get into our next prospect. Um, but you have to think of it this way: like when you're at 19, do you want to take the 4th best pass rusher or the 5th offensive tackle, or do you want to get the best prospect you can at this position and add someone that is going to start right away? Like, and that's why it brings in the wild card of a potential tight end pick. Like,
Yeah.
could they add a Michael Mayer who is possibly tight end 1. Like, he's very solid, and he could come in right away, start. Cade Otton could be more of the tight end 2, and it just gives you depth. And obviously, tight end is going to be more involved in this offense. We know that they're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets, so that's going to be important. Could they add like a Dalton Kincaid? You know, you never know. Darnell Washington probably has the most upside. He probably has the most upside, and he's a hell of a blocker, and obviously can catch the football as well. So you have to look at those things, and like all that plays a part. And Brian Branch, that goes back to the Brian Branch story. Like, he is the best safety, but he's also the best nickel in this draft, and the Buccaneers have a need for that position. So I could see it where they could add someone like that, because at the end of the day, if you drafted Brian Branch, you already know what you're getting in him. There's room for him to grow, obviously, but you know he's already going to be a very solid player for you, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, it fits a need, and it's one of the best players at that position if he's available. So, I mean, that would be – I know a lot of teams or a lot of Bucs outlets have been saying him, but
yeah,
let's see. I mean, he could go top 15. We don't even know. So
we don't know. Yeah.
So we shall see. Like we were saying, that is a starting position in most NFL teams. Like 70% of the time, it's a starting position. Plus, if he's that good, you can use him in any way. Yeah, if you saw our film study, he can get after it in the pass and the running game, and he's a good blitzer. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure you find a way to get that guy on the field. Let's move over to the next draft prospect. Let's go over to, was it Anton?
Yeah, Anton Harrison. I'll bring him up here real quick. So you see him there. He is, one of the picks that has been mentioned as potential at 19. Also could be potentially in a trade down if they want to move back a couple of spots. But Anton Harrison, I think, is really good and probably rated higher among, most analysts. I think he's got a potential to be drafted higher than most expect. So good size, 6'4". He's got the 34-inch arms, really good pass protector, and he's already playing left tackle. So you could keep Tristan Wirfs at right tackle and could make you better in that situation. But let's bring him up here on the screen. You see him there, left tackle, 71, and you'll just see just easy movement for him. He really does a great job of just keeping his feet moving. Hands, nasty hands, likes to fire them a lot. So he's aggressive with his arms and everything, and really does a great job of punching defenders and staying with them.
I mean, the only thing I can kind of say, a little bit of a knock, he's kind of reaching. This guy is humongous. This number 62. We just had his Anton Harrison's numbers up. He's 6'4", 315. He looks like an average dude next to this guy. This is another massive defensive tackle out of Baylor. He's going to be a problem. He needs to keep his breath under his stamina going. But I can see him reaching a little bit. 62 is extremely strong, extremely big, but he's still staying in front of him. Maybe a little heavy feet. I mean, look at him lunge here forward. Right. I don't know if 62 is pulling him down here a little bit, but these are things. He's got traits. Can you work with him? But do you take traits at number 19 just to keep Tristan Wirfs at right tackle? That's a big question mark. But again, the NFL, people fall in love with you. You get drafted wherever the hell they think, right? So here, this is actually pretty good. A really smaller, faster guy going based off speed, quickly gets outside. Break this down a little bit for me.
Yeah, you just see, again, good quick step out there to get, out to the edge. So good footwork, keeps his hands in place, good balance, not trying to be too aggressive. So he's kind of letting the guy come into him. But once he does, he shows good power and he goes and attacks him. He stays after it, making sure he doesn't turn the edge or gets inside of him. So you got to like that. So the potential is there. Again, there's a lot of work still remain to be done, but you can see the upside with Anton Harrison for sure.
Just for me, like him loading his hands here instead of just going from reaching out there, and then make contact. Why is he loading up like a Kamehameha here? Kind of reach back, then push through. That's something where NFL linemen are going to see that and just counter off of that if he does stuff like that consistently in the NFL. So, I mean, that's something, again, coaching can fix that. He has tools, he has traits. So, yeah, does that at 19? We'll see. But he also can actually stand to gain some more weight because he doesn't look that that overall big, and he's at 315. Either way, standing guys up, no one's really bulldozing him here. Plus, break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, and you talk about the weight, and that's a good point. A lot of scouts were talking about his play strength from his sophomore year to his junior year, and this year it took a step forward. I thought he got a lot better as far as play strength, but you see him here just being smart, understanding. Okay, this guy's coming over. I'm going to go and engage him. So he does a good job of just holding his ground here, punching the defender, staying in front of him. So you got to like that. You got to like that as a prospect.
And then offensive line play, this is truly a team game. Like, not just necessarily all 11 players on offense, but he's working with his left guard. You got to be working in tandem. If these stunts happen, he's got to send his guy over and then pick up the man that the guard's leaving off. Does that easily, seamlessly transition, heads right on him. But yeah, standing up, okay, maybe the other guy gave up, so he's standing up too. I mean, still just technique, little things. It's not, hopefully not bad habits. But you see here, there we go. He's getting some little torque in there. Is the guy winning? No, he's just kind of driving him outside of the pocket, running the edge, so to speak, but just does not let the guy win. He ends up on the ground. I
Mm.
like that. That's a little bit of torque in there.
Yeah, for sure. It's just showing some aggressiveness, showing his play strength, showing some power. But what I like about it, he's just keeping his feet moving at all times. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign. Yes, the technique could be better, but he does a good job of just staying moving and engaging on the defender. So you got to like that. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, because the jump, you have the jump step outside. Wait, let's rewind this back. So you have one
Mm.
big jump back, and then one step inside. It's almost like he's dancing. Almost gets hung up by the left guard's foot here, and almost going down. But then his upper body is so strong, he can kind of twist the guy out of the way. I mean, you can rely on strength and mobility and balance sometimes, but you got to be consistent. So this is almost stuff we saw like Tristan Wirfs, a hell of an athlete, strong, big, but he just needed teaching points. Like when he came out of Iowa, he was not a clean player, but
Mhm.
somehow coaching took to him and he turned into like literally one of the best right tackles in the league. Here again, just talk about technique plus. What do you see here?
Yeah, again, coming, jumping to the outside here. And again, he's looking at, I guess he was looking at the defender to the far side, but he does a good job of staying with number 9 again, pushing him down. And again, maintaining balance here is really key. Like he gets beat a little bit there, you see with the little head swipe, but he does a good job of recovery. And that comes into those long arms again,
Yeah.
34-inch arms. That's going to help him. And you can see that where it helps him with the recovery, good quick feet to get back into position. And then he finishes the rep, which is nice.
I mean, I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer of all this,
Mhm.
but like again, immediately he's just standing up. To me, like technique needs to be fixed on that.
Right.
Oklahoma doesn't hasn't been really known for crazy good offensive line. It's more freaks like Orlando Brown from years past. But here, reaching, why does he get pushed down on this? Because he was so high. The guy just popped his head. He wasn't really balanced, lower center of gravity. But his athletic trait of staying with it keeps him in there. And that's stuff that teams can coach up and improve on. So, yeah, there's things I like, but then there's things like, damn it, why did he do that? So, I mean, just the niftiness of feet. They don't look as nimble, I would say. And he gets crossed up, but he gets the job done. A lot of technique needs to be worked on him. But overall, I see a player that is talented. It needs coaching. That's my
Yeah.
2 cents.
Yeah, and I agree with this. I like this play here. Again, he's picking up the blitzing slot corner here, it looks like, but just showing his speed to stay with this guy because he is quick and finishes him to the ground. But yeah, I think you're right. Again, technique. Again, sometimes you see they're just a little bit maybe too high. You like to see get that knee bend a little bit better and a little bit more consistent with his jabs as far as punching. But again, he's a fighter. He's effort. And he's maintaining with this guy, hand battling him, which is good. But like you said, technique definitely can be coached up, and that comes into decision. Do you take him at 19, or is he a guy that you trade down and try to get later on?
Yeah, and this is actually really good of consistent effort. That's something you can't really teach. You either have it or you don't. Is some guys just give up on a play. Look at how long this play is. And he's continuously bugging this guy, just shoving him down. Nope, nope, you're not going to get to my quarterback. This is like a 7-second play.
Mhm.
He's literally on it the whole time. Manhandling. Nope, you're not going to get back there. You're not going to get back there. He's actually pushing him 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. That stuff you can't coach up. That's amazing. That's stuff that you want. And I know Dave Canales likes in his offensive lineman. The aggressor, the guy that's going to go after you, play up until the whistle and maybe a little bit after. And look at that. I mean, the run game, I like that. I like the aggressiveness here. A lot better than the pass blocking. This shows you're aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I like about him. I liked on his tape that, yeah, the technique wasn't pretty at all, like you said, but his effort and his ability to get after guys was very impressive. And I think with little coaching up, he could be, down the road. This is a guy where you look at 2 to 3 years down the road, he could be a very good left tackle for you in the NFL. And that's hard to find, especially at the NFL level. If you can get a guy like this who can become something down the road, that is, definitely worth it.
Yeah, so run blocker, he gets a good grade from me. Pass blocking, a lot of technique stuff. This is stuff we talked about with Tristan Wirfs. He was a hell of a run blocker in Iowa. His pass blocking sets were kind of looked like he's crossing his feet at times, but the aggressiveness was there. The effort was there. The anchor was there at times. He just stood up high. I'm not going to say Anton Harrison is Tristan Wirfs, but hey, there is teaching points to be had. But Anton Harrison, guys, let us know down below. What do you think about Anton Harrison? Is he a pick for you at 19? But let's keep talking on Anton Harrison. Plus, overall, do you think he's a viable option at 19, or is that a trade down?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you probably would want to trade down, and like you said, he's not the cleanest prospect by any means. He needs a lot of work, but he showed a lot of improvement from his sophomore season to this year. And again, that was just a few games that I looked at. We haven't seen the whole season on him, but what I gather from other scouts and what they've seen, he continues his trajectory is going up in the right direction. And he's only 21 years old, which is great. So he's a young prospect. And he has all the things you want. So it's a measurables type of pick where he's got the size, he's got all the athletic traits, but now can he take coaching on and really fine tune his pass blocking where it's a little bit more cleaner, run blocking, same thing, and continue to build on that and continue to condition his body into, NFL starter. That's something that remains to be seen. But again, that's what interviews are for. They brought this kid in on a visit. So you just have to, weigh those options. But yeah, sure. If you could trade down, I would be all for that and still pick him up with a later pick. You also get more picks in the process. That definitely could be in play. But you look at him, you look at Darnell Wright, those are probably two guys that are, in contention for 19. Darnell Wright has got a lot of hype lately, and it seems like he could be picked much, much higher than 19. So, and that goes back to the question, do you want to take the 5th best offensive tackle, or do you want to take another position that could be ranked higher, on your board?
Well, let me also say this. I mean, looking, like I mentioned again, the Tristan Wirfs draft.
Yeah.
What was it, Jedrick Wills? Wills or Willis?
Jedrick Wills, and then you had
he's like literally the most consistent player, a guy that everyone liked, but his ceiling wasn't as high as Tristan Wirfs. And look where Tristan Wirfs is right now. I mean, yes, the Browns got a good, I think he's a right tackle for them. He was good, but no one's saying he's a Pro Bowl player like Tristan Wirfs is year in and year out, right? So is a guy like this, just because he's on the board at number 4, is he still possibly could be one of the better tackles? You don't know.
mm-hmm.
And it's how does he take to coaching? How is the headspace in between his 2 ears, right? Will he want to get better and not just, oh, I made it to the NFL, I've made it? I mean, a lot of this goes into the draft process and who the hell you're taking. Remember Georgia's tackle that the Giants got in that draft? He was the top tackle taken. That was his name. Something Thomas, right? Or
yeah, Andrew Thomas.
And what the hell happened there? And he was the first tackle taken. So you're saying he's number 1 and Wirfs was number 4? Is he the 4th tackle taken? So
yeah.
No. So just because where they're taken does not mean where the hell they're going to end up.
Right.
I know Darnell Wright looks pretty damn good, sound, consistent. SEC, right? So it was Jedrick Wills. Is it Wills or Willis? Well, I'm butchering his name.
I think it's Wills, but
Bills.
if not,
But SEC competition, everyone kind of says that.
yeah.
Guess what? Iowa football, baby.
But Darnell Wright also has, question marks as well. He has concerns. I mean, people talk about his weight as a potential, factor. He did struggle with conditioning, and you could see that on tape where as the game went on, he did get tired. So there is, those things to look at, and some technique things as well. So again, he's not a perfect prospect either. And that just goes to what I talked about earlier. This draft, like, it's really based on the team and what they look for and what they want. So if Anton Harrison is the pick at 19, I could see why the Buccaneers did it. And again, he fits a need. You need offensive tackle. You need a guy that can come in here and play. And he has that potential. He could come in and play right away for you. Especially if he takes that trajectory like Tristan Wirfs did. Like, obviously you want that. Not saying that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, if NFL coaching can make that much of progress for a guy, yeah, you could definitely see that type of jump for him. And he's only 21 years old. So yeah, I like Anton Harrison. I think he could be definitely in the running for that pick, or even a pick later down the road. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy that. And why we have you guys here, be sure to hit that like button, comment on those videos, and be sure to share them. So we appreciate all the support. And thank you guys for joining us here. All the subscribers are in the chat, so much appreciated. And all the comments. And I think there was a question up here I wanted to touch
Oh,
on,
yeah.
Mark. Yeah, real quickly. Kalijah Cansey out of Pittsburgh. I think it was Gary Buff was talking about him. So what's your thoughts on him? Obviously, would love to have him, but it's just the size threshold. Probably not what the Bucs are going to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, we've been fighting this for years now.
Mhm.
The second we got BA, we brought in I think it was Jess Root from Rise Up See Red. They know everything about what BA brought, what Todd Bowles' defensive
Yeah.
scheme was. It was you have your big guys up front, opening holes for your middle linebackers to attack and make one-on-one opportunities for your outside edge rushers. So you're filling those A gaps. And we kept thinking, oh, but there's this young, athletic defensive tackle, maybe undersized, but he can be a hell of a 3-tech next to Vita Vea. We haven't done it, and I guarantee we're still not going to do it. Even though we may be banging our heads for it, I like Kalijah Cansey as well. He is a beast. I mean, he does things that are crazy for a man that size to do, like comparable to Aaron Donald. I mean, no one's Aaron Donald, but he does flash plays like it. Again, Pittsburgh defensive tackle. Would I want a defensive tackle that can cause some pass rush? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it happening with the way that they like to run their defense. You have Todd Bowles sitting there saying, "Oh no, I love Devin White, love Devin White." That ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
Like that is what it is. That's the defense that works, and it won you a championship. He's not going to go away from it. I mean, he's still one of the most smart minds in the defensive coordinator rooms, right? I mean, everyone
Mm-hmm.
always says he's a mastermind. It's the way he kind of brings blitzes and disguises things. Some things that we're hoping you're going to see in offense. I think it's going to stick to the same status quo. Do we find some edge rusher that can win one-on-ones? We tried it with JTS. If a guy like Nolan Smith falls to us, do we do that? Maybe. I think he's just seeing pieces that he needs to fill voids for in that way. I think you're going to see more of a bigger defensive tackle than you'll ever see a smaller defensive tackle. I
Yeah.
think Logan Hall was them hoping he can gain weight and still kind of fit the mold, but get a somewhat of a pressure guy. It didn't work. We've
Yeah.
talked bad about him enough, but
Yeah.
just plays too high, does not fit the mold of our type of defensive tackle. Let's see what happens this year. It was just 1 year.
Yeah, it definitely didn't work in year one, but let's see what happens in year two, and hopefully he takes that step that this team needs. But yeah, I think you look at the defensive tackles that they're going to be looking at. The size threshold usually is like 6'4", 290 and above. That's usually what they're looking at when it comes to defensive tackles. Edge rushers, you're usually looking, the 6'2", 6'3" range, over 250. That's what they're kind of looking for. And Yeah, I mean, edge rushers in round 1, I think you're looking at guys like Miles Murphy could be a potential pick. You're looking at Lucas Van Ness. Um, Will McDonald could be in contention there. Even thinking of the other guys, even like a BJ Ojolari could be a possibility. You don't know. King Felix out of Kansas State. It really, it's any name could pop up there in this round because, like I said before, there's just no consensus. Like it's really based on what the team likes and what you're looking for and who can come in and fill what you want scheme wise and also bring that upside to your team for years to come. And with that said, I know we haven't talked about this at all, but quarterback position, quarterback at potentially 19, that has been like, I guess, the hot thing in mock drafts lately, especially national media. A lot of I've seen a lot of mocks with Will Levis. I've even seen mocks with Anthony Richardson at 19, Hendon Hooker at 19. So I don't know on that one. I think me and you are good with, going in with Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. Obviously adding a quarterback in sometime during this draft, I think is a possibility because they need another arm in there for camp and everything. But at 19, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Will Levis personally will be there. I think he'll be drafted. Anthony Richardson's going to be a top 5 pick. So I don't know. That was just wild to me that, they were having quarterbacks. And I think a lot of it is just, well, Bucs lost Tom Brady. Let's give him a quarterback, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
I think the same. I mean, what are you going to just do? Just throw as many quarterbacks into a room and just see what the hell happens? I mean, you almost have to have a clear, definitive answer.
Yeah.
I mean, the competition's already too deep right now. You throw in a third, or you're just going to get a mulligan year just to hold your first round pick. I mean, you do that when you have a good team. I mean, like Kansas City did that with Alex Smith. They drafted Mahomes. And you're like, okay, that's the future. You already know that. We're still a good team.
Right.
I mean, and he groomed himself to get to his position. I just don't see that as a smart decision. I know Jason Light always beats around the bush. He's like, oh, I'm not afraid to do it, so I could do it. So he doesn't really give you a full answer, but he gives you kind of clues with some of the things he says. Todd Bowles been giving away a lot more answers than Jason Light, but still, I don't think it'll be an option. I don't think, like you said, Will Levis will even be available with how teams get so attracted to quarterbacks. And this, especially an athletic quarterback that can throw really far, fall in love with him. So I doubt he makes it to 19. If he does, hopefully we're trading back.
Yeah.
One that wants that. Get some more ammo. But would I be shocked? No, because then we'll know again what direction it's going. I wouldn't be the happiest, but I'll be like, okay, that's our choice.
Yeah.
Let's break down this guy and see, do we have something? Is this going to be our franchise quarterback? That's another damn thing I want to talk about. Yeah. Franchise quarterback.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, let me just touch on Will Levis real quick. Like if he's there at 19 and he is the selection, obviously that says, okay, Kyle Trask, you're done. And it also shows that, Will Levis is probably the perfect fit for what this offense wants to be. And that makes sense, right? Because he's got all the athletic traits. He can run, he can throw. And he's a pretty good quarterback, especially when he was put around a good supporting cast, especially in 2021. And he also already played in this offense before. So, with the Rams OC that was there in 2021, and he had his best season that year. So I could see it where it lines up. And would it cause chaos? Yeah, absolutely. It would cause chaos because you're adding a third guy when you already told these other two guys that they're going to be competing for the job. And it's like, well, we're just going to make Will Levis sit this whole entire year. No, that's not going to happen. Like Will's going to come in and he's going to compete. and he could have an opportunity to be the starter. So yeah, it would definitely shake things up for sure. With that said, though, I don't see the Buccaneers doing anything like that. If one of them does make it there, I think they trade down and get the most picks they can. You know, whoever wants to come up and get them, or they take someone else. That's how I see it.
I don't see how any
Yeah.
veteran would want to sign back either.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if what's his name? Hicks is thinking about it right
Mm.
now, or Golson. They're like, what? Wait, what? Yeah, we're not signing back. Like,
Yeah.
you got to think about it that way too. Oh, we just wanted to get better, but now we just took a rain check on getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's different ways to look at it.
Mhm.
I just don't see. I see as you have two guys, you have a good competition. Let's see who wins it. I know Levis is very appealing based off all those traits we talked about, and that's a good point about offensive coordinator that he's already been in this offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a whole lot of clientele or what we call it, like intel going into that, but we're going to find out. At
Mhm.
4 short days or 3.5 short days. But
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I'm in Baker's camp big time.
Mhm. Yeah, I like Baker as well. I think Baker, again, we talked about it before, very good fit. But yeah, let's go to, what you wanted to talk about, franchise quarterback. Like, this has been a discussion. Like, what is franchise quarterback, and
Mhm.
how do you know that's something that I think teams try to chase way too often, instead of just finding someone that can do the job and just be good or consistent. And I think that's what makes a franchise quarterback. It doesn't have to be this star level player. When you look at like these other, players, Patrick Mahomes, yes, great talent, and he does make plays on his own and does all these great things, but you also look at what he has around him, a great
Yeah.
team. And he plays within that system, plays within that team, and he does a great job of, managing things and being that guy for them. Same thing, Jalen Hurts, all these guys that are top end quarterbacks, that's what they do. So I think that mystery of finding that franchise quarterback is really, it's not that anymore. Like, you're not going out there looking for a Peyton Manning, because the game has changed. Like, it's just not what it, was.
I mean, yes, that there's few and far between Peyton Manning's,
Yeah.
Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers. They don't grow on trees, and then you don't even know if you've got them when you take them.
Right. Right.
Right? These guys have to develop and continue to grow, and teams have to stick with this guy. How many times we've mentioned with quarterbacks, they take them, they're this top flight quarterback. Everyone's like, this is the guy, this is the franchise.
Mhm.
And then they gave up on him after 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the trajectory with Drew Brees. I mean, I think I saw a video on him and Baker Mayfield, the comparisons between the two.
Yeah.
Drew Brees' first 3 years looked awfully a lot like Baker Mayfield's first 3 years. Then he gets hurt in his fourth year, which looked bad because of that. Saints sign him, and then holy hell, look what his career
Yeah.
turned into. I'm not saying that's what he's going to be. I'm just saying, like, when a team falls in love with your traits and starts doing the things that you succeed at, and your
Mm.
confidence starts growing, then you get better. That's what they do in college. I mean,
Right.
they figure out 2 or 3 things this guy does really, really well, and they keep doing it over and over and over again because the other team can't stop it. And then you can just be more diverse because, okay, they're going to do this run play that they always do. No, they switched it
Mm.
up. And that's where coaching comes in. So you just can't force it. And that's why I'm on the Baker camp, not just because of the Drew Brees comp, but he's proven he can play at a high level, consistent, and he can make every throw.
Mm.
Like, yes, he has his little interception thing to talk about. They all have to go through that ups and downs. I mean, have you seen Peyton Manning's first few years? It didn't look pretty either.
Yeah.
They got to figure it out. You got to stick with it, stick with an offense, a quarterback coach that knows what the hell they're doing. So let's see. And I think it's Kyle Trask. You got a guy that doesn't really make many mistakes. Does he push the ball down the field? We'll see. Baker likes to push it, likes to be aggressive. So you got two that are going against each other that are very opposite. And
Mm.
I want to see what comes of it. I don't want to see us try and go after this franchise quarterback when you could possibly have one already in house. Don't go chasing, especially like you just mentioned. Again, it's like the fourth best quarterback of the group.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you want to continue to build the team around the quarterback, and especially you want to bring in pieces that can make things easier for the quarterback. We've already seen Tristan Wirfs and I think Rashad White talk about it, how this offense is much friendlier. It's also much easier for the offensive line. So that could also be a tell that maybe they don't go after offensive line because they feel good enough with what they have. And if the scheme is helping these guys pass protect and be a little bit, I guess, more easier to, you know, hold up the defense where the ball is coming out quicker, or, you're moving the pocket more. So it creates more time for the quarterback, stuff like that. So that plays a part, in it. And you talked about how Baker in his first couple of years where he did pretty good. And then his fourth year, he gets hurt. And then they just kind of things fall out, for whatever reason. And maybe with Baker coming in here and he's coming into a scheme that's going to play to his strengths, it's going to help him be a more consistent quarterback. And maybe some coaching helps him get away from some of those decision making errors. Yeah, you could have something there. And again, guy's only 27 years old. We've seen what this coaching staff did with Geno Smith as far as, Dave Canales. And yeah, so you could have a situation like that could play into future years. So we really don't know. We just got to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, like, and one other talking point of the franchise quarterback stuff, you just touched on it. It's building the team. It's not just building the quarterback. All these quarterbacks that were successful. Look what AJ Brown did for Jalen Hurts. Turned him to almost like a damn MVP player, and it was just one giant wide receiver that could go up and make the contested catch. Makes it a lot easier. You have one guy, it's a way better than 50-50 shot. Look at Patrick Mahomes with Tyreek Hill, how elite they were together. And then you have probably the best tight end in football right now, Travis Kelce, a guy that's a mismatch nightmare. So the middle of the field's always wide open. If they converge on that, outside's going to be open. Coaching goes into that. And then not just that, look at their defenses that they had. Insanity. There, you can name Chris Jones in the middle. Who's the edge rusher they have that's really good? Frank Clark, right? I mean, they just build the team and find ways to capitalize in areas that they need to have the most talent at that position, right? Quarterback, tight end, one wide receiver. Okay, we're good. Everything else we'll just kind of fit it in to fit the cap. Defensively, they hit Chris Jones, biggest pass rusher in the middle. Makes it a lot easier for you guys on the outside. That's what the Bucs are thinking about with their defense. Stop the run, clog holes, make it easier. Transition for Devin White, Levante, make it up in the gaps. And hopefully your edge rushers can win one-on-ones. And offensively, let's see. I mean, a lot of movement, a lot of getting guys in motion, finding ways to kind of get running lanes based off of that disguise. And can you believe we're going to have a running game? Emphasis on the running game. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Yeah. But that will help a Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, whoever the hell wins it. A running game is a passer's best friend. So can't wait to see where the direction's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We appreciate all the comments, support, all the subscribers in the chat. So much appreciated. Be sure to hit that like button for us, help us out. All the support. We're going to have much more content. I know content has been kind of up and down for us this year so far. A lot of that just has to do with life and, just busyness of that nature. But we're prepared to get more content out there, especially once the draft is done. Can't wait to dive into more prospects. I know didn't have a lot of prospect videos. We did pump out 2 in this live stream that we're excited to share with you all if you missed it. But yeah, the draft is here. It's very exciting, and can't wait to be alive again with you guys on Thursday. So be sure to join us at that time. We're going to start at 7:30. Going to have some guests on as well, hopefully throughout the show, and it'll just be a lot of fun. Just breaking down each pick. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of surprises that is going to be really cool to see. So yeah, man, I can't wait. Mark, any last thoughts on this live stream?
No, just looking forward to the draft. Excited. Yeah. I guess it's my fault the Lightning are messing up. Hey, maybe it's Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield's. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were up 4-1. It's tied 4-4.
Oh,
That's
it's
ridiculous. Hey, they
yeah.
they lost track in game 3.
Yeah, defensively is definitely not working right now for them. Vasilevsky hasn't been as sharp as either. Um, but
That's how
yeah,
they are in the third period. They just like, oh well, we're winning. Let's just
mhm.
play not to lose. I hate when they do that. Hate when they.
Yeah, that is the big killer in all sports. Safe as death. We've heard that from John Tortorella before. Like you just can't sit back. You have to continue to push and continue to move forward and try to score more. If you already scored 4, go for 10. Like that should be your mindset. You should always be on the attack, because if you're not, then that's when you fall into traps. And obviously we see that 4-4 now, probably going into overtime, unfortunately, and that's where the Lightning are not good at, especially in the NHL playoffs. But it is what it is. I mean, the Lightning have been to the Stanley Cup the last 3 years. They won 2 of them. Got to be happy with that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can pull out a win.
Yeah,
But
just
anyway, guys, yeah. What?
I was like, just wake it the hell up. But
Yeah.
yeah, thumbs out.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate all the support. Can't wait for Thursday. It's going to be here very soon, and we'll find out who the Buccaneers' next pick is going to be, which is awesome. And so much more to come here at Real Bucs Talk. So if you guys do us all a favor, just hit that like button, continue to support us. And with that said, we are out of here, and we'll see you on Thursday night.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucs.